Today, I want to talk about something that I've noticed, and it kind of ties into the Monday episode, just a little bit. But I think people like the idea of being friends with people who are super authentic. But when it comes down to it, most people can't handle having friends who are authentically themselves. And let me break down why. Let's get into this episode. So this is what happens. You meet someone who's really themselves, okay? They don't people please, they don't really water down who they are. They say what they think. And at first, you're attracted to that. At first, you're like, dang, they so real. But then you actually start hanging out with them and they don't validate your excuses. They don't laugh at your jokes when they're not funny. They don't agree just to keep the peace. Okay, they challenge you, they question you, they hold up a mirror. And then suddenly you can't stand them anymore. Mm. This is the thing people have to understand. Authentic people force you to look at yourself. They don't play the same type of games that you play. They don't participate in the delusions that you need to survive, okay? And that's what makes most people uncomfortable. Because when you're around someone who's genuinely confident, it highlights everything that you're not. When you're around someone who sets boundaries, it shows you how much you let other people walk all over you. Okay, when you finally get around someone who speaks their mind, it reminds you how much you censor yourself. So you start projecting. Okay, you call them too much, a bit too much. You say they're negative, you say they're judgmental. But really, they just showing you who you are, and you don't like what you see. And to be completely honest with y'all, man, I deal with this a lot in my personal life. I'm not gonna lie, like a lot. The amount of people that tell me I'm too much, I'm too intense, I'm too blunt, I'm negative is insane, guys. And this is what I realize, man. Most people don't actually want authentic friends. They want yes men. They want people to validate their reality. They want friends who share the same insecurities so they all can just stay in delusion together. And that's not me. And that's not me, man. That will never be me. I'm gonna tell you the truth regardless. A lot of people can't handle that. They want friends that's gonna let them complain about the same problems over and over and over without them ever fixing them. They want friends that's gonna agree with their terrible decisions so they don't have to take accountability. That's not me. I'm the friend that's gonna challenge you and make you uncomfortable. I will not allow you to stay the same person for years and years and not grow. I can't do it. That's not in my DNA. And because of that, people like to say, I'm a bit too much. I'm intense. Steve's a bit intense. No, you just don't want to grow. And I remind you of that every time you're around me. Let's keep it real. So if you're trying to be my friend, you're going to have to level up or the friendship is over. That's the ultimatum. Why? Because that's how much I love you. And I refuse to sit here and enable you and watch you just play around with this precious thing that we have called life. People who are really authentic, they don't usually have huge friend groups. You know, they have a few deep connections with other people who are also secure and self aware. But big friend groups, 20, 30 people, nah, they not rolling like that. They don't roll like that because friend groups usually require conformity. Okay, and the real ones, the authentic people, they not conforming for nobody. So they end up isolated, okay? Not because they're difficult to deal with, but because most people can't handle someone who refuses to play along. So this is what usually happens. You see someone who's confident, grounded, secure in themselves, and you're drawn to that, okay? Because you can feel the difference. So you try to be their friend. But you don't realize that you're not attracted to them, you're attracted to what they have, okay? You want their energy, their confidence, their peace, but you don't want the work it took for them to get there, okay? And the second they give you what you want, the second they challenge you or set a boundary, you turn on them because you weren't actually ready for a real friendship. You were there to borrow their light. The more authentic you start to become, the more you start to really step into who you really are, you're gonna start dealing with this too. You probably already are and just don't realize what's going on. So, I mean, if you still figuring out who you are, if you're still struggling to look in the mirror and like yourself and love yourself, man, don't be out here bothering authentic people. And I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm saying it to save both parties the drama. It's like you're gonna wanna be close to them, but then you're gonna make their life hell because everything they do is going to trigger you because you're so insecure. And you know what they're going to do next? They're going to start slowly pulling away from you. Not because they don't like you, but because being around you is so exhausting. It's almost like the more authentic you become, the less you want to make new friends. You you kind of just want to stay to yourself. You're like, please don't try to be my friend because I don't feel like being exhausted if it don't work out. I don't feel like you just randomly getting jealous of me out of nowhere. I don't. I'm telling you, the real ones listening to this, like, y'all feeling me to the max right now. This is crazy. I don't hear nobody talking about this on social media. This some next level stuff right here. So yeah, man, authentic people, the real ones that everybody seems to be seeking out. Where the real friends at? Where the real people at? Man, listen, they not for everybody, and that's okay. Okay, and you don't have to be friends with them. You don't even have to understand them. But stop pretending that you want authenticity when you really just want comfort. Before you sit up here and say you want some real friends, you need to ask yourself, am I ready to be real with them? Or do I just want someone who makes me feel good staying exactly who I am? And if you do want a real authentic friendship, you got to do the work first. That's the other part. You got to put in the work first. You got to get comfortable with yourself. You have to stop needing validation for every single thing that you do. And most of all, you got to be okay with being challenged. Because when you start getting real friends, they're going to challenge you because they're going to love you enough to challenge you. If you have a bunch of friends around you right now and they're not pushing you to be a better person, that's not your friends. Okay, they just hanging around you because they comfortable too. But yeah, that's what it's gonna take for you to find some real authentic friends. And if you're not ready for that, that's fine. Just be honest about it. Just be honest about it. That's all I ask. Hey, look, and while you're being honest about it, make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button for your boy. I appreciate you. And as always, if you like this episode, send it to a friend. If you hated this episode, send it to an enemy. But regardless, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And thank you for hearing me out. Peace.